You know, I have been playing Osu for well over 4 years, and I don't think I've ever seen a technique quite as good as this for tapping. This technique is so good, it goes up against the Magic Animals and Laissez-Faire's abilities, and those guys can stream up to 1000 BPM, sometimes even higher. The fact that this technique can be done by anyone, doesn't require rapid trigger, doesn't require a crazy keyboard, doesn't need any sort of massive wrist movements, is going to change the game of streaming forever. What you are about to see in this video is the story behind how I found and created the tapping technique that I am talking about. Allow me to introduce to you scratch tapping.
How much is it? How much is it?
181! New top play, I can get a 300. 274 PP play. What? 300! What? Immediately after, what? Bro, that's what you have to do. You just lock in. You're so good at this game. What the hell? New top play, that was an accident. What is happening today? Oh, no way! What? 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 No way. Now, I've set countless plays just like this, but let me explain how I got to this point. About 1.5 years ago, I managed to get my hands on a Wooting Uwu for my birthday. It was one of the rapid trigger keypads that were making a huge name for themselves at the time. But the main reason that I wanted it was so that I could try rake tapping. But as you can tell, I failed miserably. I would fail again and again and again just because of the massive wrist movement that you would have to do. And the fact that every time you used the wrist movement, it would just push the keypad all the way to the left or all the way to the right. It was not viable for keypad usage. I needed the entire keyboard if I wanted to do something like this. And so, the idea for this entire thing was scrapped. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm still here. I couldn't do rake tapping on the keypad, and there wasn't really a way I could do it. Until one day, with massive amounts of luck and massive amounts of duct tape just barely hanging the wooting onto my desk, I managed to set this score. The first ever DT score on Guy's Honesty, one of the love diffs. It was 10.16 star, and I managed to get 59 accuracy and 83 misses. The UR was horrible, but it was probably one of the best scores I've ever set at the time, considering that I was just over 150k. It's crazy what I was able to do, even as a 6-digit. But this technique wasn't good. I spent billions of dollars on duct tape, and I don't think I could keep that up right now, especially since I'm in college. And so for about 4 months, I quit on that. I tried playing normally and doing all this stuff, and it was going great. And then I wanted to pass some 10 stars. I wanted to pass some crazy maps, I wanted to do some cool things, and I came back to it. But this time with my own technique. And this is where scratch tapping came into play. In my eyes, I believe scratch tapping is way better than rake tapping. Let me explain why. First of all, you can really easily switch between tapping normally and scratch tapping. The ability to do it is unlike any other, and it will allow you to use scratch tapping within more rhythm complex maps. It's a game changer. Secondly, you don't even need your full hand to do this. All you need is the 2 fingers that you currently use. It's not that hard to do. And honestly, I think that everyone can do it if they can tap normally. Thirdly, when talking about rake tapping, they sacrifice accuracy in order to get speed. What ends up happening with scratch tapping is that you're not sacrificing much, maybe a bit less accuracy, but when you're comparing it to rake tapping, it's vastly different. About a 50% accuracy on rake tapping, all the way up to 90% accuracy with scratch tapping. That's a huge difference. And fourth and finally, the most important detail is that you don't need rapid trigger. The thing with rake tapping is that it all depends on rapid trigger. Even though with scratch tapping, rapid trigger would necessarily help for learning it, rapid trigger isn't required. I can easily stream 350 BPM just with scratch tapping and no rapid trigger. With rapid trigger though, I can go all the way up to 600 BPM streaming. Okay, now that I've explained everything, allow me to show you the greatest tapping technique ever and how to do it. Here is scratch. Whoa, wait, hang on. I just want to make a couple quick announcements, just real quick. It'll take like 45 seconds tops. You don't need to skip the video. In fact, I'll even put a timer up here. You know what? Here, just bear with me. Here we go. Start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. I just want to briefly talk about Osu Radio. What ended up happening is that a lot of the code was garbage and just everything didn't work. And with that, someone's actually taken on the project themselves and optimized everything and started actually making huge updates. I want to make a huge shout out to Paralyzed Evo. They've been creating amazing work on Osu Radio, and I think you should go check them out. I'll put a GitHub link down in the description and you can automatically update. It's really nice. Just, it optimizes everything. Go watch. And secondly, please consider subscribing. I want to take 30% of the revenue from this channel and give it straight back to you guys. Of course, I need at least a little bit in order to pay for college, but I remember when I was 6-digit and I wanted Osu supporter, but I just couldn't really get it. So I want to give back to you guys and make sure that that happens for as much people as possible. Plus, Peppy is just an overall great creator and I want to support him as much as I can. Anyway, let's get back to the video. I feel like that's been well over 45 seconds, but whatever. It works. Here we go.
Okay, so this is scratch tapping. Ignore the setup. It's doesn't look great. Okay, this is how you scratch tap. The first thing that you got to do is you've got to learn how you're tapping. A lot of people don't know this, but it's pretty simple mechanics. All you got to do is just watch yourself. So when you're tapping, do you primarily simple tap? Do you primarily alternate? Are you a big double tapper when things get too difficult? Really, that's going to determine the play style with this, because primarily you want to learn how to alternate when doing this so that you can get as fast of a click as possible. But in reality, you can do this with single tapping. I've never really tried double tapping. It just doesn't feel right, but this is the way that you can do it in many ways. Just learn that. That's the big thing, because you're going to want to adjust to alternating a lot. Play some alt maps, maybe do some stuff with that if you're having trouble. But otherwise, yeah, that's the first step. The second step is definitely, well, the second step is actually learning how to do it. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your middle finger here, or your whatever finger you normally use. Just take a finger and press down as you normally would. So you're going to want to bottom out for this. So when you bottom out, you're going to want to take this and then bring your finger, instead of lifting back up, go down to here. So what is actually happening now is that you've got this section of the finger here now pushing down the key. And going from this transition of up here to down here, you get this sort of jump up and down a little bit. If you're not getting that, that's fine. Typically, keypads with low actuation points like the Wooting will pick that up. For other keyboards that have really high actuation points, like up to 2 or 3 millimeters, it can be a bit more tricky. But a keyboard with about maybe like 1 to 2 millimeter range of actuation point, that will typically work. So if you can do that, that is awesome. The next thing is you're going to want to learn how to alternate with this. So you take here and you go down, and then after that, you take your other finger and do the exact same thing, all the while lifting up this finger. So typically how you would with this, except like this. You're getting about 3 to 2 hits per on each key here, and that has allowed me to go up to 400 BPM streaming. Although there's another trick that I can show you that will actually make it even better, going all the way up to 650 BPM streaming. So let's take a look at this. So we're going to take your finger that you would typically use to scratch this key, and we're going to move that to the center. So now you're hitting both keys at the same time. So doing this action, the exact same thing you did before, and doing this is key. Because what will happen is that you're pressing 2 keys at the same time. 2 times 3 is 6. That's like 3, and that's like 6 presses per finger usage. So then you're going to want to combine that with your other finger. What a lot of people like doing is they like taking this finger, and then after they've gone through this motion, bringing this finger down and hitting just this key. Because it's hard to go from there and back and forth a lot. If you're able to do it, good for you. I can't do it consistently. But going in and doing this and then this is probably going to be your fastest method, at least for the beginners. So putting this all into one swift motion, it turns out like this. So without doing the middle keys, it goes like this. And with doing the middle keys, it goes like this. So that can be pretty fast. The typical usage for this isn't for long maps where you're always doing this. If you're doing that all the time, you're not going to be able to get good accuracy or good PP. It's just not worth it. It's more for maps where you've found this one pattern that you can't hit. You just, for some reason, have been mind blocked on it, or maybe it's too difficult, or just the rhythm is really tough. And so you just can't do it. But you can do it on something like Relax or Autopilot. So this is where this comes in, because you've got the reading capabilities in order to hit it. So it becomes a sort of Relax where you're clicking, and since you're clicking fast enough, it just hits it. And surprisingly, this gets past note lock. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know how it gets past note lock. I mean, you'd think it would literally cause every piece of note lock to exist, but it doesn't. And that's just beyond me. So I'll put up some slow-mo clips right now of just how this should look like in-game, or not in-game, but like how this should look like when you're actually playing. So here's a slow-mo clip of me hitting it with just the left and right keys, not using one finger to hit both at the same time. And then here's another clip with me doing the exact same thing, except using my middle finger to hit the middle keys at the same time. Now, I said at the beginning of the video that you don't need a fancy keyboard in order to do this. In reality, that's a bit different. You need some sort of keyboard where you can hit the bottom row of keys without actually needing to hit any other keys that are below it. So having a row of keys here is not viable, because what will end up happening is you're going to use the technique, and it's going to hit these other keys and not let you to use your fingers to travel down into this direction. That's pretty difficult, and you can't necessarily do that. So if you can find a keyboard that has a low actuation point, and B, somewhere where you can just hit keys on the bottom row that aren't like Alt, FN, Windows key, Control, the space bar, then you should be good in order to do this. I've seen people on regular keyboards hit upwards of 300 BPM. Mind you, they can stream a lot faster than how I do normally, because I can normally stream 200 BPM, but I've seen people who go all the way up to like 250 BPM streaming, being able to get 400 BPM streaming with scratch tapping on a normal keyboard. Mind you, I will say that rapid trigger significantly helps with this. It's a huge part in that allowed me to find this technique, and also the fact that now I have a keyboard that doesn't have buttons on the bottom row. But since rapid trigger is so prevalent in Osu now, with Wooting and the Seiyou device and tons of other knockoffs of those two, it can be really helpful if you have that. And this has allowed me to set some crazy scores. I'm going to be honest with you, I can't believe I've set some of these scores. I have a leaderboard score on the hardest map in the game. I've gotten a 3 miss on that one 10-star song that goes like 10 you're selfish, 9 you're jaded. That song, I got a 3 miss on that with DT. And then I've got a leaderboard score on Exile, and there's just so much stuff that I've done with this. And since I'm a pass player, like a player that goes for just passes on hard maps, That's my whole thing. And in fact, if you look at my top plays, I've set a ton of set a ton of accidental top plays with this technique, and although they're really low accuracy, it's because I was going for really low accuracy. So because I just wanted to pass on the map, but I didn't end up realizing that it would actually give me massive amounts of PP.
And I'm gonna be honest, this is where things get a bit more controversial. With the way that the PP system works right now, everything is just based off of misses. So if you manage to get a low miss, high star rating pass, then you can get any sorts of amounts of PP. And I know that people are gonna use this method for that, but that's not what it was intended for. Yes, I've shown at the beginning of the video lots of clips of me getting tons of PP and setting crazy scores, but in reality, I made this method just so I could finish maps. There's a lot of fun, cool, crazy patterns that I've always wanted to try, and I just can't get to them without no fail. Sure, yeah, this is most certainly a skill issue, but something about watching a top player on maybe YouTube or a replay hit some sort of crazy score on a crazy map, and then being able to hit it yourself, even if it is with low accuracy and a low miss count, is crazy. It's an amazing feeling, and it's so fun to do. Although, in terms of PP, yes, I 100% agree that they need to find some way to nerf this. And no, I know it's hard, but setting a 68% score on a 270 PP play is not the best for the system. In fact, actually, I should probably try farming with this. You know, just see how viable it is. Might not even be a big deal. You know, I'm just gonna hang on. Let me load up OBS. Okay, let me just attempt to farm this, because it might actually not be that bad. It could be like really not that bad of a problem. What's a map that's farmable right now? Let's try time to save. Like, this is what's going to happen. I'm super disappointed that this is going to happen. I'm going to release this tapping method, and then people are going to start shooting up in ranks. What am I supposed to do? This is a new top play, I'm pretty sure. This is literally going to break Osu. How am I supposed to do things? Like, this is going to break Osu if I release this video. What do I do? Okay, I've spent the last 2 days debilitating if I should release this video or not, because I do want to upload, but at the same time, this is like probably not the best thing to upload. I'm just gonna upload it. I'm sorry guys if this does anything that is pretty profoundly negative. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this. And the weird thing about this as well is that all I used in those 2 replays was rapid trigger. I didn't even use like macros or anything weird. In fact, I'll throw up my utility settings, because I was using a wooden keyboard at the time. Yeah, I genuinely don't know what to do with this. Yeah, I guess please don't ban me or my friends. I guess I should point that out. I genuinely wanted to make this video for like, this is a cool way you can pass maps, or this is a cool way you can do this. Not like this. I really want to request a rework. Like, I want that play that I just set to be brought down to like 100 PP. Like, I don't want that anywhere in my top plays. Put me back to 6 digit. if you have to. Like, base the PP rework off of me. Make me lose everything. Put me down to 3k PP. Ugh. This needs a change if it goes poorly. And yeah, that's the end of the video. I just wanted to apologize for the end there. It was a weird ending. I just really got surprised on how this whole tabbing technique can just give so much PP. Yeah, in the background right now, it's just a random replay I grabbed from Osu renderer. It's by Elite Spike 43, but I typically want to engage you guys, so I'm leaving a Google Forms down in the description so that you guys can submit your own replays to be in the background for the title card of the video or the end card of the video. So go there and just submit a replay and I'll go take a look. Anyway guys, that's going to be the end of the video. I'll see you guys later, and yeah, peace out.